Welcome into the PHNX Sports podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app. I'm Makayla Perkins. I'm your host for today. I'm obviously having trouble speaking, so this is going to be a long one.
It's always good when your host can't speak.
Yeah, it's a good way to kick it off.
Joining me today is Montilla, Greg Esposito, and Leah Merrall. We are super excited to go streaking. Woo!
You know what? I don't know how to respond to that, but I love that this is the only show that I get called Greg on. So thank you for that.
Well, I was going to go with Gregory, but
yeah, go Gregory.
Yeah, Gregory's my favorite.
Yeah, fine. That is my given name.
How are you guys doing today? This lovely Wednesday.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I think it's a little cold to go streaking, but all right, whatever
It's
we gotta do.
December 1st. It's like 80
It's a good thing to consider.
Yeah.
No,
What are you
That's
talking
cold.
about?
It's like 140 here most of the time, so 80's cold.
We live in Phoenix. It's never too cold to go streaking. All right, let's
Words to live by from Makayla Perkins.
Let's get things started with our Valley Sports temperature check. We've got a lot to talk about today, which I'm super excited about.
We have a $50 super
Is
chat.
that right?
This is to get Craig Morgan to eat a hot dog with ketchup, by the way.
Oh
Is that,
my gosh.
That's
we
a
have-
real
Yeah.
super chat or a fake?
That's
Is this
It
real?
looks like it's fake.
I don't know if this is real.
Is it?
okay.
Oh, all right.
Well, that's
I
real.
guess this counts. So
Hold on.
I'd like to
Craig
think
said
my
he'd actually do it if somebody donated $50.
yeah, we said if someone
All right.
sent a $50 super chat, Craig would eat a hot dog with ketchup.
All right.
What
well,
is wrong with ketchup on hot
Craig-
dogs?
Craig is going to be. Oh, wow.
Leah's she
Leah's
so
laptop
she
fell.
threw her computer.
Well, we're gonna need that $50 to maybe fix.
This
Leah's
podcast is going to be
computer.
off the rails today. If you can tell by the title, it's going to be it's
That-
real. Dang, Cheerson's in the
that
chat. What's up,
broke-
Cheerson?
It's real
That
and
broke
it's
the internet.
spectacular.
Does anybody have an idea of how to say that person's name? Faisal?
Faisal, yeah.
Faisal?
Faisal.
Faisal? Thank you for the $50 super
Yes,
chat.
thank you. We will. I promise you, Craig is not here right now, but we will deliver that to
He
you.
will be eating a hot dog. We're also going to post it on social media in case anybody
Yeah,
misses it.
don't worry
So
about it.
we will
We
make
got
good on
you.
that $50
We'll make a
super
meatball.
chat.
Not just a hot dog. It has to be a hot dog with ketchup.
I
Oh,
love
hot dog with
Right.
ketchup. That was the promise.
I love that we're now soliciting money for our host to do ridiculous
Yeah.
things.
That is the point
For
we've reached.
$15,000, I will eat a live scorpion. All right.
Oh my God.
For 20 grand, I'll shave the mustache.
Why are you putting it out there?
That also reminds me, if you're watching this on Twitter right now, head over to our YouTube channel so you can join in on the chat. We love it when you guys let us know you're watching and you chime in on the conversation. We will always read your comments on the show. So if you're watching on Twitter, head over to YouTube right now. Let's get started with our Valley Sports temperature check. Like I mentioned, we've got a ton of great stuff to talk about today. Let's start it off with the Cardinals, who are coming off a bye. They're sitting at 9-2. They are crushing it right now, the best record in the NFL. Do we think that Kyler is going to play on Sunday?
God, I hope so. Yes, I think he is.
I don't know. They're 2-1 with Colt. I'm not. There's a bit of house money you're playing with, but I expect if Kyler is capable, he will play. But I'm not as worried as I may have been a few weeks ago. If he doesn't, you're playing Chicago.
Yep.
Not the greatest of teams.
Nope.
Good point.
So if you have to go with Colt McCoy, I'm not overly worried. The guy I want to see back is DeAndre Hopkins,
Right.
because if he comes back and you have to play Colt McCoy, that makes it a lot easier on Colt to be able to keep the winning going. But D-Hop's the guy I'm most concerned about getting back.
Yeah, and just so everyone knows, Tristan Susell, our PHNX Cardinals host, was at media availability today for the Cardinals, and they did say that both Kyler and DeAndre are limited in practice. They both have been practicing. Obviously, there is no timeline for return for DeAndre or Kyler. Kyler, when speaking to the media, said he was hopeful that he could play on Sunday, but he said that for ever since he's been injured and hasn't played.
Yeah.
So obviously that doesn't really carry much weight. Obviously, we all know, though, he would like to be out there on the field. But I kind of agree with Espo. If Kyler doesn't play, I'm not too stressed about Colt being under center. And I think that if they're going to have to go with Colt again, a game against the Bears is a good time to do it. So
And all-time great Cardinals name. Stoney, Colt, these are some of the great Cardinals names of all time. And I love Colt as a quarterback, a gunslinger. Like, it's just perfect.
how perfect would it be if he played for the Colts? Colt McCoy for the Indianapolis Colts.
Both need to stop right now. Someone needs to stop both of you right now. But I will say this. I think that it's, with it being week 13, they need to focus on the playoffs now, right? So even if it means sacrificing a win at this point with the way the division is, that can happen, right? And they can make sure that Kyler is healthy and at 100% before getting him back. That's the most important thing.
Yep, I 100% agree. I'm not as worried about talking about the Coyotes as I have been in the past, which I think is a small improvement.
They're
Coyotes,
lukewarm? Is that fair?
Veg
Yeah.
and wedge.
Not in
Veg
last
and
in the
wedge.
NHL.
That's
Not
an
in last.
improvement.
But is that good or bad?
Yeah.
It depends on how you look at it.
Right
Are
now,
they-
the Coyotes are sitting at 5-16-2. They're
Woo.
not the worst team in the NHL, like Leah said.
It's got to be Seattle,
Nope,
right?
it's Ottawa.
Oh,
Ottawa.
Do Canadian teams count?
You just made
I
the
would
entire
send that
country
clip
of Canada
and see what they
upset.
have to say.
I'm gonna resend
I
that
love you,
$50 super
Canada.
chat.
I love you, Canada.
I will say that it's kind of interesting that they are kind of failing to fail.
Yeah,
right.
it's very
I
on
mean,
brand. For the
it's-
Coyotes.
I
They're
could
gonna
only-
pick. They're gonna pick third or fifth or something.
I mean,
like
did Ottawa openly say that they were going to lose before the season started? Because I would only imagine how I would feel about that if a team that openly said they were going to lose was doing better than my team. But yeah, no, I mean the veg and wedge connection is doing great, and
Yeah.
I think that at the very least the players don't want to lose.
No.
So that's what we're seeing
Not
right
at
now
all.
with this team.
Yeah, Leah, what do you like about that wedgie veggie combo
I
in
mean,
the net?
they give the Coyotes a chance every game, and that's all you can ask for as a fan. I think every fan went into the season knowing this was not going to be a winning season
Right.
Sure.
by any stretch of the imagination. But you also want to watch some competitive games and get your heart pounding at the end and not be so upset like those blowout losses in the beginning of the season were just like you felt so dejected after and like how am I going to get through 82 games? So I think in the last 2 weeks the Coyotes have had a lot of close games, a lot of overtime games, a lot of, down to the wire, a lot of third period comebacks. So they've definitely been a lot more exciting to watch. And like you said, the wedgie veggie tandem has given them a chance every game.
Didn't Veggie have like 47 stops in the shutout?
46 shots, his first ever career shutout
That's crazy.
on Monday night
Against the Jets, right?
Yeah.
Love
Did not
that.
expect them to win that game at all, especially not 1-0.
I was shocked, but I loved how extremely excited Coyotes fans were because after that win, I saw all over Twitter, they're like, this is the reason that we still support the team. Like, there's still reasons to get behind them. And
Yes.
I love the passion of Coyotes fans. It's probably the most admirable fan base in the Valley.
So is it settled? Is it veggie?
It is, we've settled it.
Okay.
And we asked Wedgwood, and he said it's veggie. And when they talk about him in the press conferences, all the players and the coaches say veggie, but the Arizona Coyotes Twitter account is still
So we
trying
can
to push the milkman agenda, and I'm against that.
so we can go Anchorman style and start a fight with the Coyotes social people.
Yes.
It's on. All right,
Yes.
good to know.
It's
I
going to
still-
happen.
I
I'm
still
going to
like
take it to Twitter.
Vegematic. I like Vegematic. Come on.
No.
That's
no.
an old reference. But
It's a
It's
very
veggie.
old reference.
Leah, before we move on, I know that you mentioned that there could be a potential reinforcements coming. Nick Schmaltz has started skating again, which I think would provide a huge boost to that team. What's the update that you have for him?
So Schmaltz has been skating on his own, and Craig Morgan had just reported this week that he's going to start skating with a stick again. So that's a positive. There's no exact timetable, but it seems like he's going to be on his way back soon, which is good for a team that has very little center depth. The team needs all the help they can get. So great to see him coming in soon. Hopefully.
All right. Well, not all doom and gloom about the Coyotes. We're getting a little more
Woo.
positive. We love that.
Speaking of doom and gloom,
Yeah.
Hey,
About to say.
hey.
Moving
Wearing
on
the
to the
shirt.
Diamondbacks. They finalized their coaching staff yesterday, right?
yeah.
What are your overall thoughts on the new? I know they just 5 new coaches came on.
Well, okay, so 4 of the 5 have already been with the organization in some capacity.
Okay.
And the only new addition is Damian Easley, who will be the assistant major league hitting coach. He was actually a player for this team back in 2006.
Okay.
So another guy kind of coming home. The interesting thing about the way that they aligned the other coaches is that they're going to do a hybrid style that's been used by teams like the Dodgers and the Giants, where their coaches are going to be involved in both the minor league and the major league level, right? So Drew Hedman, for instance, and Rick Short, both of them took over as the hitting coaches, interim hitting coaches midseason. They will be assistant major league hitting coaches, and then Hedman will be the director of minor league hitting, and Short will be the assistant minor league hitting coordinator. Same thing with the pitching situation with Dan Carlson and Barry Enright. Both will be major league pitching coaches, assistants, and minor league pitching coordinator. So the reason why that's important is because the Diamondbacks have talked about their commitment to their minor league system and that being the future of this team, and not any longer the future like down the road, like the future now, the future in 2022, the future in 2023. With the coaches that they've brought on, they have shown how committed they are to this. I mean,
absolutely.
The coaches are absolutely humble about it. But I mean, when you talk about, Jeff Bannister, Joe Mather, and especially, Brent Strom, there is quantifiable evidence that they made the teams that they became a part of better.
Yes.
They will credit the players all day long, but especially like Mather with what he did with Cincinnati and Strom with the Houston Astros, you can't argue that they didn't help make this team better. So it's exciting for the future and the prospects that are going to become major league players and how they're going to be coached with such experience, at a major league level. But honestly, I've started getting behind the idea of how much better these guys are going to make the guys on the roster.
Yeah.
Right. The D-backs talked about their roster moves yesterday. We thought Christian Walker might be non-tendered, but he was tendered a contract. Taylor Clark was the only non-tendered player. So the Diamondbacks are kind of showing a commitment, with the exception of not picking up the option on Cole Calhoun and a couple of other situations where they are still committed to the guys on this team. Like they might be bringing in young guys to have that mix of veterans, and they definitely need depth. But I think that they're, they want to see what coaches like Mather and Strom can do for the existing players that are already able to play at a major league level, but how much better they could potentially make them.
Yeah, well, I mean, they definitely have brought in some big name coaches, but on the other end, they have not really brought in any new big name players this offseason. I mean, they brought in Jordan Luplow this week.
Yes.
But aside from that, there just hasn't been any big splashes. What are your thoughts on Jordan Luplow joining the team, and do you anticipate them bringing in any big free agent acquisitions this offseason?
I like Jordan Luplow. He had a big home run in the playoffs. He has a lot of experience, and again, he adds to the depth that they need in the outfield that they don't have right now.
Ketel Marte back to the infield.
Get him out of the outfield, absolutely. But the Rangers spent over $500 million.
Yeah, the Rangers just went full Padres from 2020. They're like, we're spending money on everyone.
And honestly, when you look at the moves, it's, time will tell if that $500,000 was well spent. But it's often said in baseball, it's not how much you spend, but how you spend it. The Rangers seem to think that throwing all the money in the world is going to fix their problem and overcome the Houston Astros in that division. And I just don't know, with the acquisitions they made, if they spent money in the right way. That's all. And I really don't like committing to baseball players for over 5 years. Some of these 10-year, 13-year contracts are insane to me.
Yeah, they're crazy.
It's becoming more common. I just think that right now, the crazy thing about this whole situation is I'm kind of happy the Diamondbacks aren't getting that Black Friday fever of being all panicky before the imminent lockout.
Yeah, well,
and
that
just
was my
buying something, right?
You are very much where Suns fans were a while ago, where it's like justifying, try to feel better about the moves. And
the lack of moves, right? But I guess my point is that like a lot of teams seem to be trying to solve their free agency needs or their positional needs quickly before the lockout, so that they at least have a plan. And I think the players want that certainty too, so they want to get a deal before the potential lockout as well. I just think the Diamondbacks have said what they were going to do, and that they haven't really hidden that they weren't going to make a big splash in free agency. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them kind of go shopping in that post-Black Friday bargain bin where they like wait for Sunday, where the deals are still going on, but there's not much left, but they'll pick up a couple of DVDs, for $5. Blu-rays, is that better? You know what I mean?
I haven't owned a DVD in years.
Oh, look, it's that knockoff of that movie I wanted to see.
Exactly.
Sure, I'll get that.
$1. Come on, throw it in the cart.
We're definitely going to have a lockout. I think Sports Illustrated just said that the negotiations between the league and the MLBPA have already ended today.
Yes.
So we're moving towards a lockout. Are any of you bothered by that, by the way? Does anybody care that we're not going to have baseball on time?
Well, we don't know if we're not going to have
Exactly.
baseball on time.
Yeah, it's just the negotiations are not going.
I think that they do have a ton of pressure because baseball is dwindling in popularity. And honestly, people have too much media to consume. Honestly, they have other sports. You can switch over and watch baseball on the KBO now, right? And people have, and some people are still doing it. Speaking of which, one of the D-backs players, Henry Ramos, just signed with a KBO team. So
wow,
he
thank
will
you
be,
for that fun fact.
Yeah, that's what. Well, I mean, like honestly, man, I just think that they need to get the negotiations done very quickly because people will turn on the entire situation. They'll just see it as both sides being greedy and not getting it done, despite the fact that there's a lot on the table to try to make baseball better. And I think that's a lot of what the Players Association is interested in doing, is making baseball better.
Man, this lockout could not have come at a worse time.
May I interest you in a lightly used John Lester?
Sure. Absolutely. Put him in the cart.
Lightly used players are the Diamondbacks' favorite type of players.
So you're saying a lot of things are on the table to make baseball more interesting or better. Is part of that going back to the 1980s? Because I feel like that's the only way that it'll regain the popularity.
The 1980s were so good. That's no, we're not. We're never doing that. But I think that there's an expanded playoffs on the table, and they're very interested in competitive balance. What's interesting is that they just want to set a baseball floor instead of a ceiling. They want to make all the teams spend at least $100 million, which the Diamondbacks did not do last season. So I mean, it would help a bit, but will it? I mean, still teams will spend that amount and not $1 more.
But is that to potentially force out, and sorry, this is a nerdy question I want to know, but does that potentially force out owners that aren't willing to do what's necessary to have a team and have that competitive?
We have no idea how much these owners make. And so like that's the craziest thing is they can talk about their losses and all of this other stuff, but baseball has set it up, that teams have all sorts of revenue coming in from different sources, even if the other like the Diamondbacks, for instance, even if the other teams in the division are selling out and you're not, you're getting a cut of all of that, right? So it's like the owners are taken care of pretty much, but I think that I mean really there's just some that don't see the reason to spend the money when there's no chance to compete in their division, like the Diamondbacks in the NL West.
Yeah,
I mean, you can throw all the money at it like the Padres did and still
not even
finish in third and finish outside of the playoffs. So.
All right, well, there you have it. That's our Valley Sports temperature check. I know we haven't talked about the Suns yet, so don't freak out, but I promise you that we will because they're going to be our main topic of the day. Before we get to that, though, I've got to tell you guys about DraftKings Sportsbook. Football fans, I'm sure we all love an action-packed, high-scoring NFL game, but with the latest no-brainer from DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, you'll be a winner once a single point is scored. New customers who bet just $1 on any team to score can win $100 in free bets. It's just that simple. DraftKings Sportsbook customers can also get skin in the game with new same-game parlays. Combine multiple bets from the same game for a bigger payout. The more legs you add, the more money you can win. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable, and best of all, you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code PHNX. Bet $1 on any team to score and win $100 in free bets. If they score, you score with promo code PHNX this week at DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the NFL. 21 and up only, Arizona only. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. New customers only. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. That was a lot.
You speed that up like they actually do in the commercials without the help of speeding it up.
As fast as I can. All right, you guys, let's go streaking! Woo! The excitement level is so low.
I'm just uncomfortable.
Why is nobody excited to go streaking except for me?
Yeah, I'm with Espo. It's cold outside.
All right, we have got to talk about these Phoenix Suns. I have never in my life been more excited to talk about the Phoenix Suns. Last night, they beat the Golden State Warriors, who, for whatever reason, Stephen A. Smith is obsessed with and thinks is a better team than Phoenix. But Phoenix quickly proved them wrong because they won. They're on a 17-game win streak, which obviously...
What's that like?
I know what a 17-game losing streak's like.
So just imagine the opposite. You got it. There you go.
which ties a franchise record. They're going to take on the Pistons tomorrow, which I feel like is a game they should win. If they do, they'll beat that record at 18. Espo, I mean, come on. What a time to be a Suns fan.
Without a championship, it doesn't matter.
Okay, that
Wow.
is not where I was expecting you to go.
Nihilism. I'm sorry.
Oh, God.
Jeez, have a little more
No,
excitement over there.
it's definitely it is fun to watch this team, and coming off of 10 years of just Coyotes level basketball and what you want with the Diamondbacks, like I feel for you guys because that was a decade. Like I covered really, really bad
Don't
teams that
pity
lost
us.
on
Don't
It's
pity
not
us,
pity.
okay?
I feel it, and I want you to look at what I'm going through as the ultimate hope that there can be light at the end of the tunnel.
Driving through our neighborhood in his Mercedes Benz with his $300 glasses
All right.
on, talking about
Screw you
I
guys.
used to be you.
Hold on a second. Then screw you guys. It's great. I love not
Thank
losing.
you.
I love winning.
Thank you.
17 in a row is like nothing you've ever experienced, nor will you. And it's just, it's fantastic.
Okay, this is much
Too
better.
far.
This is the
Too
energy
far.
that I wanted.
Sorry, I went too far the
Yeah,
other way
you
now.
overcorrected.
No, this is
Definitely
much better.
overcorrected.
Look, this team is something special.
Oh,
I
it's
said it on the
fantastic.
Suns show.
Yeah.
They may be the best Suns team in history. The only team that has a claim to this is the 06-07 team that they
Mhm.
just tied.
Yep.
That team won 17 straight, but you may remember a couple days ago hearing, oh, the Suns tied the 06-07 team. Yeah, they had a 15-game win streak as well in that season. So 17 and a 15-game win streak. There was only 3 games in between those two win
Wow.
streaks. They went 1-2 in them. So they went 33-2 over a 35-game stretch.
Oh my God.
That's next level. But the difference between that team and this team is the fact that this team can win in all sorts of ways.
Yep.
Defense, out hustling teams. That 06-07 team was predicated on high power offense.
Yeah.
So this is a different beast. It is very exciting to watch. Obviously, there's a concern with Devin Booker's injury, but they don't feel like it's going to be serious. Maybe a week or two that he misses time, but it's not a long-term thing. This team can win without him as well.
Well, and I think-
it's harder, but they can do
I
it.
think
But
that
that's-
was my favorite part of the win last night. Obviously, I'm not happy that Devin Booker got hurt. I would never wish that or want that. But the fact that they were able to win over
Right.
Golden State while missing him for an entire half that speaks volumes to this team and the talent that they have. And, Stephen A. Smith went on a rant yesterday about how the Suns championship window is closed, which is the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. And he was talking and making fun of the fact that they have Frank Kaminsky and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, and they
Yeah.
have Frank Kaminsky.
Frank
like,
dropped
Please, go.
31 this
Go off.
year.
they have
And-
people that can step up when they need them. Frank Kaminsky, Jay Crowder, it is so cool to watch.
Last night was incredible. The biggest thing about last night was the defense. The fact that this is the first game Golden State has been held under 100 points this
Yep.
season.
And in 43 games.
Right.
It's been 43 games since they've been
Since
held
their
under.
last- right. And you just had Mikal Bridges, who didn't put up much on the stat line, but was probably the most valuable player of last night's game with the way that he played defense all night long.
Hashtag
It was
Defensive
just,
Player of the Year.
it was incredible. I just couldn't believe the way that they turned it up, especially in Booker's absence. Once he was gone, it was that next man up mentality, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, but that's how this team has been. It doesn't matter, who needs to step up. They just do.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nights where Devin Booker and CP3 shot horribly, and they win because JaVale McGee and DeAndre Ayton step up, or Cam Johnson or Mikal Bridges have big offensive nights. Last night was a prime example. Landry Shamet doesn't shoot well throughout that entire game. Fourth quarter, they need a big shot after Devin's been hurt and Cam Johnson goes out with cramps, and he hits a big 3 to basically close out that
Yeah.
game. It does not matter. This team finds ways to win, and that's the hallmark of a great team. Not a good team, not a really good team. That's a great team that does that, and we're on the verge of that with the Suns.
Everybody was getting in on it. I think Monty wanted to get on it. I think he wanted to put on a
Monty
jersey
was on the
because
court.
he just ran out there mid game.
Yeah.
Got
Monty
so
was
teed up.
suiting up.
Which was probably the highlight of in a game that had a lot of highlights. That one was the highlight for me because Monty Williams is such a buttoned up, knows the rules, knows everything.
Yeah.
And he just assumed that Steve Kerr was taking a
In your
timeout.
face, timeout.
Yeah.
And he got almost to the free throw line before he realized,
There's no
oh
time.
shit, I got to turn around right now. And it
Tapped
was
up at
too
least
late.
3 players
Yeah,
before he
it was
got
sick. I loved it. You can't blame the guy. Monty's a great
I have
coach.
a question for Espo. After last night's win, speaking of streaks, who is the second longest winning streak in the Western Conference right now? And at how many games?
Well, it was Golden State at 7. It was the second. I'm going to guess what it's like Utah at 2.
Lakers.
Houston Rockets with 3 in a row.
Oh, the bottom feeder in the West has the second longest streak. So.
So they take it on. They're supposed to take on. They are taking on. They're not supposed
They're
to. They
supposed
are.
to.
They definitely are taking on the
Allegedly.
Pistons.
Everything
if
is
they
up in the
show
air
up.
in life. So.
Yeah.
Do you think that they can beat the Pistons and get that record of 18 wins?
Okay,
In a row?
can they? Yeah.
Will
Hell
they?
yes, they could beat the Pistons.
Will they know?
Is this a trap?
Stop.
Very well
Don't
could
put it
be
into
a
the
trap
universe.
between 2 Warriors games without Devin Booker. If there's a letdown, that could be the letdown. I just don't see Monty Williams letting them get in that mind space or
Right.
headspace.
Yeah.
If
sure.
there's a loss, I think it may be Friday against the
Golden
Warriors
State,
again
yeah.
because Golden State is going to have something to prove. Steph isn't going to shoot an all-time worst second straight game. And if he does, hand Mikal Bridges the damn Defensive
just
Player
give it
of
to
the
him
Year
now.
trophy after Friday's game.
Absolutely.
If he does that again to Steph, because nobody else will have that will have that kind of impact defensively. So, yeah, they definitely can win. I think they will win against the Pistons. Friday could be a bit of a challenge against
Yeah.
the Warriors for a second time.
If they can beat the Warriors on Friday, though, then they've got the Spurs, the Celtics right after that. So I can probably see if they can beat the Warriors. I mean, they have a chance of extending this thing all the way out to 21.
You know what? If they beat the Warriors on Friday, screw it. Go for 34 and hold the NBA record.
We're going
34
for it.
in a row. Why the hell not?
Any other
out of
fun
control.
streaks with the Suns that you can think of, Espo?
Uh,
I know you mentioned the 07 team.
you know, there was, I believe it was 29 straight years they made the playoffs or something. Or I think it was like 28 of 29 years they made the playoffs until whatever the hell the decade before last year was. So that's a fun streak. But really, when it comes to it, it's this one. It's the 06-07.
Yep.
The 92-93 team had a 14-game win streak. But that's, the upper echelon is those two from 06-07 and then this one. And you know
It's
what?
good
The
company
bubble
to be in.
streak, the 8-0 in the
Yeah,
bubble,
the bubble
Yeah.
streak
that
was
started
fun.
all this. I think very much should be included because that
I
was the
agree
first
with that.
sense of normalcy that any of us had
Mhm.
with everything going on. They do the impossible because nobody expected anything, and that kind of started all this with this Suns team. So that's probably up there in terms of fun and memorable for me.
It also gave us a gem of a social media thing. Shout out to Tana Hughes. The Who's Next video of Aiden dancing.
Oh, yeah.
One of my favorite social trends I've seen. I loved that. That was so fun. So shout out to the Bubble Suns. We love you.
Not to mention, I think going 8-0 and not making the playoffs really just motivated them in
That
a way
hurt.
that, you couldn't have otherwise by even
Yeah.
making the playoffs.
All right. Well, we kind of already alluded to it. There have been other streaks that have happened with other teams. Leah, I don't know where you're going with this. I don't know if it's going to be good or bad. I think you might hit us with both.
Yeah.
Have the Coyotes done anything streak wise lately?
Yes, this year, in fact. 11 straight losses to start the season this season, which tied the 2017-18 season where they also had 11 straight losses, which at that time was the worst start to an NHL season for a team since the 1943 New York Rangers. So,
Ouch.
woo! But
Yay!
both
No.
times they stopped the streak, and both times it was picking up goaltender Scott Wedgwood off of waivers.
Hey,
Coming in, he happened to be in the same city as the Coyotes both times, came in, won their 12th game of the season, and stopped
Wait,
the
is
streak
that
at
real?
11. That
Yes.
is real.
It's the most bizarre
It is
thing
That's
the most
incredible.
bizarre coincidence ever.
I literally had no idea
Yeah.
that that's what happened.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yep.
That's insane.
Yep. So
That's like lightning striking twice.
exactly. Yeah. So
I actually think it's less likely than
Yeah.
lightning striking twice.
You honestly might be right. I wonder if DraftKings Sportsbook had the odds on
yeah,
that.
yeah. Someone could have won a lot of money on that. But yeah, 11.
Plus 40 billion.
Literally.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, the 11 straight losses to start. In those 2 years, 2014-15 lost 10 straight. Between February and March, that was the year that McDavid was the projected first overall pick. So there's kind of a tank kind of thing going on for them, but they didn't do well in the
Obviously
draft
missed.
lottery. Drafted third that year.
Damn lottery.
Ouch.
And in 2003-4, won 2 of the last 20 games of that season. So, you know.
Do you have any happy
I
ones
do.
for us?
I do. Yes. In 2010, the Coyotes won 9 straight games, helped the team make the playoffs for the first time in 10 years.
That's
They, from 2002 to 2010, or I guess 8 years, they hadn't made the playoffs. So that streak was great. And then the most memorable year, at least for the most memorable year for Coyotes fans, is 2012, the year they made the run to the Western Conference Final. The team went 11-0-1 in a month. They lost in a shootout that month, but that was the month that helped the team get into first place in the Pacific, make the playoffs, have that run, and as of today, that is the only team banner in Gila River Arena, the division championships in 2012. So
It's an important streak.
exactly, take what we can get. Hopefully, 10. Next year it'll be 10 years since that run. So
Crazy. It's been
maybe
that
it
long.
will. Like how the Suns had their little 10 years off. The Coyotes,
They're coming
they're
back.
coming back.
They're on the up and up.
Those-
What about the streak of a new owner every
Yeah.
other year?
Oh,
Does that
geez.
count in the streak?
We'll see when at least we can get a couple of years under the sun.
I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but like I get so nervous when streaks start and the longer they go on, it causes me like the most anxiety like ever because I'm like, oh my God, like I don't want them to break it. I don't want to mess it up. Like I don't know how I feel about streaks. It's painful.
Craig chiming in here on an individual level. Brian Boucher's 5 consecutive shutouts in 332 minutes, 1 second without allowing a goal in the 2003-04 season.
Thanks, Craig.
Thanks, Craig.
But that was an exciting run. I remember
Yeah.
Yeah.
that. And
Brian Boucher.
I mean, that's such a crazy thing for one man to do, that 332 minutes. And you felt like with every shot, you're like, is this going to
it
come
goes
to an
exactly
end?
what you said. It's like it doesn't really matter, but something about it just causes so much anxiety.
Welcome to the chat, by the way, Craig. You're going to
Craig?
be eating a hot dog with ketchup. I
Oh,
just wanted to
yes.
let you know.
He knows.
Oh, Craig. They're not that bad, I promise you.
To put in perspective, by the way, that I was in college when that streak happened. That's how long ago that was. So
Mhm.
we need another one of those
We
great
do.
great streaks.
How
for
about the
Coyotes
streak of the
fans.
Coyotes drafting first overall for 2 years? We'll do
We'll
that.
start that.
Start
that means
that
you're gonna
this
have
year.
to have another rough one next year
Okay,
too.
We'll do it for Bedard.
Okay.
Oh, those losing streaks
Oh,
are
boy.
cute. Those are cute.
Lindsay Smith asking, do you guys have any superstitions?
I have a superstition about the losing streak, like when I was writing and covering games.
That's
I've-
right. You did
I've-
write a story about
I
it.
felt like I did feel like at times I was causing the losing streak because
You
I
were.
would set up my article as that once the Diamondbacks were down, and I was like, yeah, I really feel like I'm not helping this situation
No,
out. But the real curse is Baxter, of course, when they decapitated him and wore his head on TikTok. That's the real superstition I believe in, because that started really bad things for the Arizona
Hit us with
Diamondbacks.
it. What's your streaks for the D-backs?
Oh, let's talk about it.
Let's do it.
The all-time franchise
Make me
worst
feel
losing
better.
streak in history. They had 2 of the 3 worst franchise losing streaks this season: a 17-game losing streak and a 13-game losing streak.
Oh,
They
Diamondbacks.
also,
Oh,
it gets better than that. Let's
Oh,
not
boy.
forget, they also had a 24-game road losing streak, which is the longest road losing streak in the modern era of baseball. Modern era of baseball goes back like 5,000 years.
So much-
I love
so many
modern.
years.
Modern.
Modern
If
era
it's
of
since
baseball.
1800, it's
Yeah.
modern era of baseball.
1892, yes. But
Am I the
Am
drama?
I the drama? That's Derek.
That
Oh,
if
it's me.
Derek was a TikTok trend, he would be that one.
Is it
That's
me?
me.
Am
Um,
I the
Shane
Shane
drama?
is
Am I the
sighing heavily because he hates it whenever I start quoting TikTok. So thank you, Lindsay, for that dual purpose comment.
Listen, you guys talk about these losing streaks. I feel like Craig thinking about eating ketchup on a hot background.
Yeah.
I know.
I feel
poor
bad.
Craig.
Oh, I mean, it was bad, but it's kind of like what you were saying about some of the moments with the Coyotes fans, right? They had good moments. The Diamondbacks, despite Makayla not wanting to acknowledge it, they had 2 no-hitters this year.
No, they had one no hitter.
They had 2 no-hitters
They had
this
one.
year.
Hey,
It was
you
one.
can only pitch as many innings as is allowed in the game.
Thank
the
you,
8th
Espo.
inning of the no hitter is the hardest inning of a no hitter, and
That
he
is
didn't
correct.
get to the 8th inning.
Who
It
frickin'
doesn't
who?
count.
The
No,
game
it doesn't
ended.
count.
Did the
game
game
ended.
not
Oh
count?
my
The
god,
game
we're gonna
ended.
if
The
no,
game
If the
didn't
game
count.
ended and the guy didn't give up a hit, is it a no-hitter?
It
I don't
doesn't
know.
count. It
Yes,
doesn't
by
If a
count.
tree
definition,
falls
there were no
in the
hits
woods and no
in a
one
game
hears
that
it,
was official.
did it
No,
fall?
it doesn't
No
count. I'm
hitter.
sorry. I'm sorry, Diamondbacks fans. I know you love that
Dumb-
Madison Bumgarner no hitter, but it was not a no hitter.
Baseball
Anyway,
has the
2
dumbest
no-hitters
rules.
this year. But yes, if you're going to shorten the games, then if the guy gets no hitter, it's no hitter. I will say that honestly, it's it didn't seem like they deserved to be this bad. A lot of people said this team, like talent wise, wasn't this bad. And I mean, you can beat up the
I mean,
injuries
injuries played a lot. I was
all
about
that
to say,
stuff,
yeah,
right? But
injuries played a lot.
I will say again, kind of like your statistic, the interesting thing about their 2 longest losing streaks was they were both stopped by Merrill Kelly. So Merrill Kelly was their streak stopper.
Scott Wedgwood. Of
Yeah, he was the
MLB.
Scott Wedgwood of the
What
Arizona
is it with
Diamondbacks.
the teams in the valley and having like lightning strike twice? What is
Kelly-
going on?
I'll say Kelly was their most consistent starting pitcher, and the biggest problem was the fact that at one point they were starting 4 out of 5 guys that weren't part of their initial starting rotation. So
yeah, not
that's going to
great.
cause your team to win over or lose over 100 games.
I find
Which they did.
the superstition stuff still going on in the chat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I wanted to bring that back. Sosei J says his superstition is never betting on your team.
Yeah.
You always bet
Really?
against your team so you
Yeah.
can hedge emotionally. That's
Never
that's
bet
what you do.
against your team.
It says
yeah.
the degenerate behind the Mac.
Yeah, I get what he's saying.
Yeah.
I don't disprove of that. I also try not to put my players for my team on my fantasy football team. I want to separate
My whole
those two
strategy
things.
for my fantasy hockey team this year was no Coyotes.
Yes.
That's a
Yeah.
good.
That's
That's
a
a
good
good
strategy.
strategy.
Just
Well, I
like
mean,
betting
that's a
against
pretty
the
good
Coyotes
strategy.
was a great
Oh
strategy
yeah,
there
no,
for
I
like
only
2 weeks.
draft players on good teams.
Oh my gosh.
That
Sorry.
is a secret to fantasy sports.
Yeah, to
draft good
Good
players.
players on good teams.
You heard it here first.
Yeah. You're
Well,
gonna be hosting the
hey,
PHNX
I am-
fantasy sports
My
show.
fantasy team's been in first this whole season.
Look
so-
at that.
Wow, subtle
Subtle
flex,
flex.
over there, Leah.
Man.
Just saying.
Well, regardless,
I'll
if
flex
you
it
are
down.
like Sosei J and you do bet on your team or you don't, either way, you can always bet on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Everyone here loves DraftKings Sportsbook. That's what we all use to either bet or not bet on our teams and emotionally hedge, depending on our moods. If you use promo code PHNX and you bet $1 for a NFL team to score a point, you'll win $100 in free bets. Make sure you download that DraftKings Sportsbook app. They're legendary. We love it. It's a great app. All right, going back to superstition talk,
See.
though, I will say I used to have a superstition when I was little. I grew up in Colorado, and so whenever I felt I broke my leg when I was in like the 7th grade, and so whenever my ankle started to hurt, I knew that like it was probably going to snow or rain because it was really sensitive to temperature change. So I would put a silver spoon underneath my pillow, hoping that it would snow. You heard? Oh, maybe you guys never heard this because you live in a state where it
What?
doesn't
I
snow.
knew you were a witch.
What? A silver spoon under your pillow?
There's this
Like,
thing where if you wear your pajamas inside out and you put a silver spoon under your pillow, you're gonna get a snow day. You're gonna get a snow day the next day. So
First,
I would
did it
use
work?
my ankle. Yes, it worked.
Oh my god.
So I would use my ankle to tell the temperature, and then at night I would sleep with my pajamas inside out, and I would put a silver spoon under my pillow, and there would be a snow day the next day.
Hold on, let me say this. Why would you think that a guy and myself from Arizona
I know.
would know anything about
I know.
a snow
I
day?
realized that this was gonna fall so flat with all of you because you've all lived in this warm climate state for
Yeah.
forever. But
the only snow days we had is when the air conditioner broke
Yeah.
in the portable and we couldn't be in there, so we got to go home from school.
okay,
early.
but for the rest of you, if there's
Did you wear
anyone
your
listening,
pajamas inside out to
I
make that
absolutely
happen?
did.
All right.
Actually, it might be on the. No, I did not.
you
I'll
guys are
say
the worst.
Bizarre.
Just the worst.
I
If
was-
there's anybody in the comments who's heard of this before, please back me up. Like, it's wearing your pajamas inside out and a silver spoon under your pillow is definitely a snow day.
I'm going to do that
Superstition.
tonight to see if we
Yeah,
can make
to
it
see if
snow
we get one.
tomorrow.
Well, here I'll give you
It's
one.
not going to work in
From my
Arizona.
family, when I was young, like my family's Puerto Rican, right? And my parents said in Puerto Rico, like it was good luck when you pass through a tunnel to touch the roof of your car and honk the horn and make a wish. and your wish would come true, right? I've heard of other things like holding your breath in tunnels and such like that, right? But that was ours. Yet I guarantee you, we were the only car in any tunnel we were in at times, especially here in Phoenix, Arizona, honking the horn and touching the roof of the car. But when I went back to Puerto Rico, everybody did it in the tunnel, and I got the biggest
awesome.
I got the biggest kick out of it because I was like 17 years old going back, and I was riding in the car, and when we went through a tunnel, it was just nothing but horn honking the whole way through.
You're like, I'm with my people.
yeah,
Finally.
it was like, I'm home. I'm home.
Oh my gosh.
For me, we didn't have cable. So, and back then, road games were on local television.
Back
and
in my
home
day.
games were on cable, right? Back when
I
you could
remember-
actually watch a
I
Suns
remember
game for
this.
free.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was nice.
Shade.
But look, so I would listen to Al McCoy call home games in my bedroom as a kid, and I would wear, if they were winning before I got in bed and I was wearing a hat, I'd wear the hat to bed. If they started going on a streak during the game, I would not move
Aw.
to the point where my extremities would go numb.
Oh
I would
my
not
God.
move
The
to keep
dedication
streak
to the
going.
cause.
Like I like so into that. So much so that as an adult, like I did the playoff beard last year,
Okay.
and I
no
wouldn't even
shave.
trim the damn thing during the playoffs because I got so superstitious about it, and I looked pretty ridiculous by the time they got to the finals.
What happened in the finals? Did you trim it?
I
you cut
did
it?
after.
Oh.
No, I did not. I did not touch it until after Game 6. I almost going
Alright.
into Game 6 shaved the whole damn thing off to try to
If
change
you
the
did,
jib.
And then you
then
would have
they
known it
lost.
would have been
It would've been your fault.
100%
Yeah.
your fault.
But it was still my fault because I didn't and they lost.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
can't
He's
win.
right.
That's the thing with superstitions. You can't
Yeah.
win unless they win everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
Then the
Leah,
superstition's great.
Yeah,
you
then it
know?
worked. Everything
Yeah.
worked.
I know
Yeah.
you have one going right now that involves a bathroom.
Yeah, so the PHNX Coyotes crew right now, we're on the streak where someone goes to the bathroom in the third during one of the last TV timeouts, but then I've missed a goal, PD's missed a goal, Aaron's missed a goal when we take our third period bathroom break. So now it's like a thing in the Discord too, like who's taking their bathroom break in the third, because like the Coyotes always score.
It's crazy.
And Aaron missed an overtime goal in the bathroom. Like,
So-
it's just a thing. So that's
So
our
why don't you do the show from the bathroom? They'll score
They'll
like
win.
60 times in a game.
We are going to be moving the PHNX Coyote show to the bathroom.
I
from here on
realize
out.
that
Listen,
sounded really weird
that's how
after
the
that
season's
came out.
going, so it's fine.
Leah just mentioned it. Our Discord channel is poppin', but you can only be in our Discord channel if you're a PHNX member. You can sign up for a membership at gophnx.com. You can do a monthly membership or you can do an annual membership. And if you sign up for an annual membership, you'll get a free t-shirt. Both. Are you wearing one too,
No.
Leah? Nope. Okay. We've got our PHNX gray flag and the PHNX Diamondback shirt on the show today. They are top-notch, high-quality shirts. Definitely sign up for a membership. Not only do you get access to the members-only Discord, which we all are in, you can talk to all of us. We love to hang out with you guys, but you'll get exclusive content, written content on the gophnx.com website, video content, and you'll get to be a member and be a part of our family. So if you haven't signed up already, definitely sign up for a membership at gophnx.com. And if you're listening to this wherever you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, you can also listen to it live. We go live every Wednesday, and you can come hang out with us in the chat. We've got Mac in the chat, So Say Jay in the chat. All of our friends are here. What does that say?
Max says my ex-girlfriend once went to the bathroom during a 2-minute drill that would win the game for ASU, and Taylor Kelly immediately threw an INT. Never again.
Never
So,
again.
so hold
Mac.
on. Was that girlfriend not allowed to go to the bathroom ever again during an ASU game?
Ex-girlfriend.
Did you make it your ex-girlfriend right
Because
after
of
that? Like, we
yeah.
need
Did you
answers.
break up with
The-
her?
the
Explained
prob-
it right there in the story. My ex-girlfriend.
The problem wasn't the bathroom break. The problem was Taylor Kelly.
Yeah.
That too.
Ooh, yeah.
I mean,
that
he
was not good.
basically played like he was perpetually in a bathroom stall. So
What
Oh
does,
my
so says
God.
Jay. What does that say? At
Says-
least.
at least you didn't foolishly rock a Van Gogh for the entire playoff run, Espo. Fun fact, that's actually my lawyer in the chat. So
Oh,
yeah.
welcome to the chat. If I ever need legal advice, I'm coming to find
I didn't
you.
say he was a good lawyer. I just said he was
Oh,
nice.
He
poor
just
guy.
represents Espo in all legal proceedings.
All right. Well, this episode was so much fun. Thank you to all of you that are in the chat hanging out with us. Did Matt give us an update on
Yeah,
his girlfriend?
Yeah.
Not because of that. He didn't break it with her because of that, but
The
now
rules
the
are
rule is
known.
known.
No, he made
So-
the rule.
Oh,
How do you explain that though? Right? Do you actually have to go? My ex-girlfriend once did this, so now you are not allowed to go to the bathroom during an ASU 2-minute drill. And how is that received by a new girlfriend?
I think that's unnecessary information. It's a rule, and you don't need to give the history of the rule, right? Like, I don't need to tell you why we don't run with scissors. We just don't run with scissors.
You do not pee during an ASU 2-minute drill.
Oh my God.
Why? There's a
Craig
history.
is asking Espo, do you need a lawyer for a certain reason?
Yeah.
That is actually, as my lawyer would tell me, I plead the fifth.
Oh
Craig.
boy. All right.
Can't explain that.
And on that note, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. We love it when you're in the comments, hanging out, chatting with us. As I mentioned, we go live every Wednesday, so make sure you're tuning in on YouTube and subscribing to our YouTube channel if you're watching. And if not, you can always listen to this as an audio-only episode on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you again so much for tuning in. We have to end this. I can't keep going. We will see you guys next Wednesday. Bye.
Bye.